right now, the internet is losing their collective mind over the potential end of Drake's credibility in the hip hop community. And I mean, rightfully so. As someone who used to be a fan of Drake when he first came out, till about the If You Are Reading This mixtape, over the years, the repetition in his music and the weird racial insecurities and culture vulture stuff has really gotten to a point that I do not really like him anymore. From one biracial dude to another, always considered black. You didn't have to prove it. And the fact that you are just trying so hard just really shows how much you wish you were someone else that you aren't. But I pretty much considered myself a pretty casual fan, just listening to stuff here and there, until Pusha T, who I consider a much better rapper, decided to come out with the story of Adidon. And honestly, as a father of 4 kids, knowing that Drake is a bit of a deadbeat father, that was really enough for me to instantly turn him off for life, especially in the fact that Drake was pretty open about his own issues with his father not being there, and to blatantly just repeat that cycle of negligence, especially with all the money and resources that he has, it just feels kind of disgusting, to be quite frank. So when it comes to this beef, it's pretty obvious that I am very biased. And that is the fact that if you go back to Good Kid, Mad City, we can kind of see the sheer width and breadth in terms of the skill levels between Drake and Kendrick, and also how they view the more important things in life like love and relationships. Things that we will be talking about in this little quick video isn't going to be anything new or groundbreaking, but I think it's a very interesting little window into the beginnings of what we're currently experiencing now, and that is kind of this postmodern social cachet downfall of Drake. Is he somehow going to disappear and go away forever? No. Absolutely not. His ego is way too big and way too fragile for something like that. But the veil's been lifted and the facade is over, because nothing ever leaves the internet, and since this dude has been online to some degree for about 20 years now, we have a pretty good idea of who Drake is as a person in regards to the various and inconsistent ways he's presented himself over the years, and how he is viewed by his peers in the hip-hop industry, which he has worked his ass off to become synonymous with. Can he be a completely different person behind closed doors? Absolutely, but it doesn't really do anything to hint at or allude to it. And I think this is best exemplified in the Kendrick and Drake feature from 2012, Poetic Justice. First off, I want to just say thank you to everyone who subscribed with my Fallout video. First video to break 10k, so that's exciting, and I broke 500 subs, so now I'm onward and upwards to 1,000. So for my next video, I'm going to be doing some gaming tips for new parents, so if that sounds interesting to you, like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for all the love and support, and we'll keep this train rolling. Now back to the video. Poetic Justice is the 6th track of Kendrick Lamar's 2012 release, Good Kid, Mad City. This is a concept album that is labeled as a short film by Kendrick Lamar, and the album is a deep introspective look into Lamar's adolescence in Compton, California during the early to mid 2000s. Released on October 22nd of 2012, the album is structured as a coming-of-age story through its songs and talks about the challenges and experiences Lamar faced growing up in a community that was overran by drugs and gang violence. It's a multi-layered narrative that moves across different points in Lamar's life and provides a storytelling experience that I personally haven't experienced in mainstream hip-hop since maybe Lupe Fiasco's The Cool Part 1 and 2. The album received near universal acclaim for its thematic scope and Kendrick's lyrical depth and knowledge. It debuted at number 2 on the US Billboard 200 and was supported by the singles such as Swimming Pools, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, and Poetic Justice. The album's success and critical reception instantly cemented Kendrick's status as not just a star, but an instant GOAT contender in hip-hop. This album is very easily in my personal top 3, along with Colors by Between the Buried and Me, and maybe Because the Internet by Childish Gambino, if I had to be pressed about it at this exact moment in time. The story of the album itself is a tale of personal growth during adversity, and a very introspective reflection on themes of generational generational trauma, violence, and survival of the self and the soul. To say the album spoke to me is quite simply an understatement. To me, Good Kid, Mad City is basically The Wire of music albums. Dense, political, but just reflecting our reality back onto us. And every time that you revisit it, you notice something new. It's peak fiction, and it's peak art with a capital A. The song samples Janet Jackson's Anytime, Any Place, which I think speaks heavily to the vibe of the late 90s, early 2000s R&B, what we would call slow jams, quiet storm, midnight love, or simply baby making music. In this context, Poetic Justice represents a momentary reprieve and breath of fresh air amidst the intense, gritty narratives that permeate the album. The song's smooth, ethereal production and themes of romance and vulnerability provide a stark tonal contrast to the grittier tracks. Lyrically, Kendrick's verses on the song showcase his emotional depth and sensitivity, particularly in his desire to truly understand and appreciate his romantic partner, Shireen, Master Splinter's daughter. And this is beyond just physical attraction. To me, this verse really humanizes him amidst his tales of life on the street and his struggles depicted throughout the rest of the album amongst things like drugs, violence, and sense of self. In the intro alone, we have the line, "Tell him dim the lights down right now, put me in the mood." I'm talking about dark room perfume. Yeah, I think anyone who has been in a room post-coitus, I mean, right there, that speaks a lot to what's on Kendrick's mind in this song. And then Kendrick's first two lines, "I recognize your fragrance, you ain't never gotta say shit," which is a very obvious reference to A Court of Thorn and Roses and the relationship between Feyre and Tamlin. But I mean, Kendrick's entire first verse is very selfless. It is very much, I want to please you. I want to be here for you. I want to make you feel good. For lack of a better term, it's almost just like, yeah, I want to simp you a little bit, which, to be quite honest, is and was very refreshing for a rap song, where normally it's all about, what can you do for me? How can you make me feel good? How can you prove to me that you are worth my time? So just right off the bat, we are seeing a more emotionally mature Kendrick Lamar, especially when it comes to serious relationships. When you're in the mood for empathy, there's blood in my pen. Like, to quote Sean Connery from Celebrity Jeopardy,
"I've got to ask you about the penis mightier."
Better yet, we're your friends in them. I really want to know you all. I really want to show you off. In this song, Kendrick is so excited and so happy to be with Shireen. He wants to tell the entire world. He wants to tell everyone in his community, despite the fact that within the context of the story of the song, this is something that literally leads to being part of this perpetual cycle of violence within his communities. And then we have the chorus, and I know, just know, just know, just know, just know, just know, just know. And we have Drake coming in right off the bat, just being a weirdo, being very selfish. I really hope you play this, because, oh girl, you test my patience. Like, what? Why is it your patience being tested? Why should we care? All these seductive photographs and all these one-off vacations you've been taking, clearly a lot for me to take in. It don't make sense. How dare you go on vacations without me, Drake? How dare you take seductive photographs without me being the one who pulled the camera? Me, Drake. How dare you? How dare you not do anything without my permission? Me, Drake. Young East African girl, you too busy messing with your other man. I was trying to put you on game, put you on a plane, taking you and your mama to the motherland. Like, right now, once again, how dare you have another man that is not me, Drake? Despite the fact that I constantly talk about how I have multiple partners. I'm a certified lover boy. I am a womanizer. But you're not allowed to have anyone else besides me, Drake. When you figure out you're gonna need someone, when you figure out it's all right here in the city and you don't run from where we come from. Like, to me, that very much reads as, oh, when you figure out there's no one better than Drake, you'll come crawling back to me, begging me to take you back. I mean, I write poems in these songs dedicated to the fun sex, your natural hair, and your soft skin, and your big ass in that sundress. Ooh. I feel like this is basically Drake trying to say, but first off, I write songs for the ladies, and oh my goodness, you're just so beautiful. It very much feels like he is objectifying her in the sense that he's just saying, oh, you're so beautiful, you're so hot. In this whole verse, I don't feel like there's anything about him trying to say anything about, oh, your intelligence, your personality, you as a person is what draws me to you. It all feels very superficial. It all feels very shallow. And at the very least, in Kendrick's verse, it feels like he is trying to serenade someone. It feels like he is actually trying to reach out romantically to Shireen and say, hey, I care about you on a sensual level. I care about you in the way that 90s R&B music proves that you can love a woman in multiple ways, if you know what I'm saying. When I see that thing move, I just wish we would fight less and we would talk more. Why do you have to see that thing move in order to feel like you wish that you would fight less and talk more? Why can't it be when I see that ass smile, which, that could be a pretty good double entendre. Once again, it feels like he only feels bad when he looks at this woman's body for being an asshole. It doesn't feel like he feels bad because he hurt a woman that he genuinely cares about. Thank God Kendrick comes in with his second verse, the third verse of the song, and at the very least kind of brings it back home to what the core of the song is really about. I really like the line, living my life in the margin, and that metaphor was proof because if you're talking about like the margins of a page, in between the lines, he's living in between the line, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I love this song so much because Kendrick's lyrics are just so well layered. And I like that if I told you that a flower bloomed in a dark room, would you trust it? Which is kind of its own reframing and reference of Tupac's famous poem, The Rose That Grew from Concrete. And it's a very, very, very short poem, but really quickly, it's just a metaphor for things like resilience and determination and overcoming the impossible, with the rose representing hope and beauty and love emerging from a very harsh environment. So you can see why that poem metaphorically fits within the scope of this song as well. And knowing Kendrick's reverence for Tupac, it all just works so well on very many layers. And then you just have Drake being his selfish dumbass like usual. I mean, you need to hear this. Love is just not a verb, it's you looking at the mirror. Love is just not a verb, it's you looking for a maybe. Like, he's saying love is not just something that you do or something that you make. It is you being able to look at yourself in the mirror and not feel like you need to look away. Love is you willing to put yourself out there and saying to someone, I like you. Do you like me? Maybe. A fatal attraction is common, and what we have common is pain, which is just another reference to a very Romeo and Juliet type of love that is being born from this very harsh and conflicting environment. Love is not just a verb, and I can see power steering, sex drive when you swerve. I feel like that's one of the few instances in this song where Kendrick is saying, oh yeah, I find your body sexy too. But because he front loaded it with all this stuff talking about really enjoying this woman, Shireen, for who she is, it feels more complete. It feels more genuine. It's coherent. I can hear it. That's your heartbeat. It either caught me or it called me. So good. I can hear your heart. It either caught me or it called for me. Once again, being a reference to A Court of Thorn and Roses. I'm pretty sure Kendrick Lamar is a secret Akatar fan. Breathe slow and you'll find gold mine in these lines, which I think if you kind of go back to the, living my life in the margins and that metaphor is proof, he's calling himself gold. I think he's calling himself gold member if you're picking up what I'm putting down. And even with the more sexualized nature of some of Kendrick's lines, to me, it speaks to something that is more romantic, more genuine, more like somebody that is trying to romance someone or court someone. It feels a lot more like love from my experience. So overall, the song Poetic Justice really contributes to the narrative of the story that is Good Kid, Mad City. It adds a lot of depth in one song to the character of K. Dot, revealing his inner thoughts and emotions and highlighting the juxtaposition of tenderness within a tough environment. To me, it's a key piece in the puzzle that is the Good Kid, Mad City storyline. And one of the things that really drew me to Kendrick was the fact that it illustrates a very multifaceted nature to Kendrick Lamar, along with his experiences growing up in Compton. It's very interesting and refreshing to see someone say, yeah, I grew up just as hard and as tough as any other rapper. I wanted to grow from that and to grow beyond it, as opposed to glorifying it and perpetuating that cycle. If you made it this far, thank you very much. I would really ask, like, share, subscribe if you were really digging this, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. Next videos are gonna be about, let's see, we got JoJo's, we got one about Bones, a TV show, we have my new parent gaming tips, and I need to do another M-rated games that I let my kids play. So yeah, I pretty much have my next few videos planned out. So if that sounds like fun to you, like and subscribe. Let me know what else you want to talk about. Let me know what you think about the video. And yeah, thank you very much for your time. I'm gonna get this uploaded now. Bye.